A cluttered life is an unintentional life. Consider this. Nobody, when asked what they most want to accomplish in life, responds by saying, "I just want to own as much clutter as possible." Owning more stuff than we need isn't something people purposefully set out to do. But somehow it happens, despite being a great source of stress in our lives. So why does this happen? Certainly advertisers and retailers and social expectations put pressure on us to accumulate more and more and more. But there are other reasons than that. Sometimes it is the lies that we believe. Here are 7 lies that lead to a cluttered home. Number 1, I have the space. Most empty spaces in our homes get filled, not always right away, but slowly and surely. Empty rooms get furniture, empty shelves get boxes, empty cabinets receive storage. As a result, the bigger the house, the more stuff we own. But our actual needs don't change all that much from one home to another. A husband and wife living comfortably in an 800-foot apartment don't automatically need 1,800 feet worth of possessions just because they move into a larger home. When we have more space, it becomes easy to rationalize keeping stuff. But our physical possessions don't just take up physical space in our home, they also take up mental space in our mind. And just because you have the physical space available in your home doesn't mean you should keep more stuff or even buy it in the first place. Lie number 2, I can afford it. I can afford it by itself is a terrible filter. It's an important question to ask for sure, and at the very least, if we can't afford something, we shouldn't buy it. But we fall into clutter trouble when it becomes the only filter that we use. Just because we have the money to buy an object doesn't mean we need it. There are other, more valuable things we can accomplish with our money than buying things we don't need. Your money is only as valuable as what you choose to spend it on. And just because we have extra in the bank doesn't mean we should spend it on physical possessions. Lie number 3, but I use it. Just because we use an item doesn't mean we need to keep it. This is an important shift in our thinking about possessions. A common decluttering question to ask ourselves about any item is, do I need it? When an item in our home is used frequently or even occasionally, it becomes easy to answer, yes, I need that item because I use it. But just because we use an item doesn't mean we need to keep it. As an example, you may wear all 6 coats in your closet, but that doesn't mean you need to keep them all. You could probably own 3 coats and still be warm when you go outside. Or you may use all the different sets of bed linens in your home, but that doesn't mean you need them all. For example, we keep only 1 set per bed. Now, obviously, the inverse of this lie isn't always the case. I'm not saying that we should get rid of everything we use. But if we're looking around the house and notice there's too much clutter, we may be falling into the trap of thinking, I use it, so I'm keeping it. But if there's another item in your home that already serves the same purpose, we don't need to keep both. Keep just your favorites instead. Lie number 4, I need to keep it just in case. Just in case thinking can be very dangerous when it comes to clutter. And there are different approaches that people recommend to overcome this thinking, especially when we're trying to declutter. The minimalists, for example, recommend if you can replace an item in less than 20 minutes for less than $20, you should get rid of it. Personally, I recommend 3 questions that we should ask. Number 1, what is the likelihood really of me needing this item in the future? Number 2, can I afford to replace it if I really do need it? Number 3, is there somewhere else other than repurchasing I could get the item if I need it? In most cases, these questions help us part with the items in our home we're holding on to just in case. Often, there is less likelihood than we think that we'd actually need the item in the future, and if we do, almost always, it is something we can borrow from a friend or a neighbor if the need does arrive in the future. On the rare occasions we do need it replaced, the cost is usually less than we think. There is a mental and energy cost associated to the clutter in our home. And rather than keeping things just in case we might need them in the future, we would be wise to reconsider the drawbacks to this thinking. Number 5, my spouse or partner is the problem. It is always easier to see everyone else's clutter than it is to see our own. As a result, we can be quick to point the finger at our spouse or children as the reason why our homes are cluttered. They're the problem, not me. But this thinking results in clutter for 2 reasons. Number 1, it prevents us from seeing our own clutter. And number 2, it keeps us from getting started in decluttering our homes. Rather than waiting for someone else to go first, it would be more effective to remove everything of ours that we no longer need. That first step often makes a bigger difference in our homes than we think. And it often leads to others seeing the benefits of minimalism and taking their own steps towards it. Lie number 6, I don't own too much stuff. I suppose in many ways this lie may be the most common of them all. According to a recent survey, only 27% of Americans believe they own too much stuff. 53% believe they own just the right amount. But some of the other stats tell a different story. The average American home has tripled in size in the last 50 years, while over 10% of us still rent off-site storage. One professional organizer reported the average home has 300,000 things inside of it. Of course, in a society built on consumerism, we are repeatedly told that our lives will be better if we own more stuff. Advertisers change our thinking on products from want to need with amazing effectiveness. So it doesn't surprise me that most people think they own just the right amount of stuff. It seems normal to buy more and more and more. But it is impossible to feel the weight of our possessions until we begin to remove them. Everything we own demands our time, money, focus, and energy, and the less we own, the more freed we are to pursue our greatest passions in life. Just because we own the same amount of stuff as everyone else doesn't mean we don't own more than we need. So look around your home again with new eyes and begin to see the possibility of owning less. And lie number 7, owning less will be boring. We are quick to tie an exciting and satisfied life to the number of possessions we own. As a result, we often live life chasing bigger houses, nicer cars, newer technology, cooler toys. Owning more is presented as the pinnacle achievement in our lives and becomes the desire of our affection, the highest level of excitement. But physical possessions can never satisfy the deepest longings of our heart and passions. That is why no matter how much we accumulate, we always desire more and more. The most exciting and satisfied lives are those focused on our greatest passions, however we choose to define that. And the less we own, the more we are freed up with our finite resources to pursue those passions. I can't think of anything more exciting than living a life aligned with your values. Let's commit to not allowing the lies we believe to keep us from that freedom.